hopefully by now you've heard that the Metro subway system is opening on Sundays beginning September 2nd. The agency who's been responsible for communicating that message is the Campbell Group of Baltimore. Here to tell us some more about the campaign is Brian Stark. Brian, welcome to In Touch with the MTA.
Great to be here.
Okay, we would think by now people have heard that the subway is opening on Sundays, but I think your work began several months ago as you started researching not only Sunday subway service, but the governor's entire transit program. What's been going on from a marketing perspective?
It's amazing the amount of work that goes into a program like this. As you said, we had to sort of create the umbrella campaign for what we're calling Destination 2020, which is the name that we created for the governor's transit initiative. And to do that, we went out and talked to consumers, people that ride, and as well as people who don't ride the system. We talked to people in DC, people in Baltimore. We went statewide because, as we know, we are the Maryland Transit Administration.
Exactly.
So we need to get out there and talk to all of our constituents. And what we found was that the reasons why people do or don't ride the system have very little to do about a lot of the things that we talk about maybe in a show like this.
Okay.
Saving the environment and urban planning. It's, will I make it to work on time? Is it convenient? We had a young lady in our office who took the train one day in from the airport, and unfortunately she ended up a little bit late for a meeting. And unfortunately, that's where people make those decisions.
Exactly.
So,
it's the convenience. Where will it get me to where I need to go on time?
Right. And it's, how does it impact me?
Exactly.
We sort of were coining a phrase around the office, my transit administration. And everything that we developed needed to be about that personal transit and the personalization of transit. So we did research, and based on that research, we developed both the Destination 2020 campaign, which is the promise that we're making to the citizens of Maryland through the Governor's Transit Initiative, where we're saying your ride is coming. And then we have the MTA campaign, which is the proof of that promise, and that campaign line is your ride is here.
Okay, and your ride is coming is the governor's Destination 2020 campaign that we've mentioned, and it's a large umbrella picture. It not only includes Sunday subway, but
Right.
new bus and rail services across the state, websites, interactive components there. So it's a real big picture campaign.
I think there was $502 million in dedicated state
approved
funding.
by the General Assembly
Exactly.
recently.
So that's one piece. That's the primary piece of it, and the MARC rail extension would be a good example. More commuter, local community bus lines would be another good example, and Sunday subway is the first great example. And hopefully, if we're doing our job, you're hearing that now in radio spots and radio spots, not TV, public relations, outdoor transit advertising. It's definitely out there on the street.
Okay, and I've seen some of the stuff. It's
Okay.
great. And it's your ride is here.
Right.
Subway's open on Sundays beginning September 2nd. Tell
Correct.
us about some of the billboards and
campaign?
some of the
Sure.
advertising radio that you put together.
The three primary uses that obviously we saw for Sunday Subway are work, church, and play.
Okay.
So we've developed executions around each one of those. As we dug for our facts in our research process, we found out that there were 18,000 and one pair of shoes the day that we called and did our estimation at the Owings Mills Mall. So we said there's 18,000 pair of shoes out there. You're going to need the extra day
Okay.
for when you're shopping.
So you will need Sundays.
Exactly.
Okay.
If you're gonna get through all of those.
Okay, and that billboard, I guess, for the next couple weeks, will probably, when people see this show, they would have probably seen that billboard.
Hopefully, you'll definitely see those billboards all over town.
Okay.
There's also an outdoor board targeted to Ravens fans, which says that a stadium parking could probably cost you the cost of the Super Bowl ticket, your next Super Bowl ticket. So a lot of fun. We're just sort of having a fun, lighthearted personality, talking to people about here are your transit needs, and basically the underlying message that we're trying to convey to everyone is that we understand as a system your transit needs, and we are putting things in place to make sure that wherever you want to go, from point A to point B, we can get you there more easily.
Okay, and Brian, I think the reason I wanted to have you on was because usually when it's the marketing or the advertising piece, you can become focused on the look or the sound of a radio commercial and, the personalities you put into it. But I think the Campbell Group has really made an effort to understand the whole transit philosophy from the perspective of the customer, from the perspective of the MTA, from the perspective of the governor and his vision for transit.
The planning process is definitely, it's more challenging to go about it that way because it's easy to go out with a fun jingle and, interesting images. However, I think this is the kind of campaign where we make sure and go out and talk to people and say, here's how you get from point A to point B. Here's the easiest way. We understand what your concerns are. That's how you're actually going to make an impact on ridership.
Okay.
Just boosting awareness isn't enough.
Okay.
We need to go out and talk to people and be relevant to what their needs are in terms of how they need to use transit.
Okay, and understand it's a 2-month radio campaign. So we talked about the billboards. So
Sure.
you'll also hear radio around these same themes.
Absolutely. There's, again, the same 3 themes. We'll have a Ravens radio spot, which is a very fun spot. Using one of the announcers that you would hear from NFL broadcasting, and I think you've probably heard it.
Exactly.
And
that's why I'm smiling, because all the spots are great.
Right. Another spot targeting your typical family trying to make it to the Inner Harbor, and as we all know,
trying to walk down to the harbor.
They're forced, unfortunately, to park a little further from the harbor than they care. And
I got to explain my heavy breathing. That's a part of the spot, okay.
And they end up very exhausted by the end of the radio spot because they're just having a tough time making it there. And then there is additionally a spot which talks about all the range of various churches which are along the subway line and sort of celebrates sort of a wide range and the diversity of religious options along the subway line. Okay,
Brian, you all have done a great job.
Well, thank you.
Okay, the Campbell Group's going to hang around a while even after this campaign?
Absolutely. Well, we're in it for the long term. Destination 2020, it's a 6-year program, so we're thinking what's next.
Okay.
We're working on it now.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
When we come back, information on the Maryland Transit Leadership Program.